We are super gifted, super talented, and we can literally put our hands into whatever it is that we want to. If you tell God what you want, He's going to meet you there as long as you are putting in the work, because faith without works is dead. But as long as you're putting in the work and you're taking action in order to move forward on what you want, He's going to meet the person who has shown himself approved. And I would tell you that I have a strong network that I'm not afraid to leverage anymore. And I have created ways to actually leverage these connections. But we all know that generalizations don't work when you are thinking about what is next in your career. You need specificity. I'm your host, TaSheena Braxton, and I am on a mission to disrupt the industry standard that fancy titles make leaders, and teaching my clients how to become leaders and get their own seats at the table. Every week, I will explore a topic that impacts women of color. I will unpack the topic and provide learning so that you can feel equipped to step into leadership. I went from laid off to an entry-level job to a mid-level multiple six figures role where I wasn't the highest on the org chart, but I was able to sit in rooms with CEOs, CFOs, and CMOs without a fancy title. As a mom of 4, a wife, and the eldest daughter of 6, I know what it means to lead in every aspect of your life and to be able to translate that into the workplace. Welcome to the Leadership Beyond the Title podcast. So glad to have you here. Now let's get into it. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast. This episode is going to be a good one. So I need you to go grab a pen and a paper, something to write with, or take notes in your note app on your phone. But this one is going to be a good one because this is going to be some very tangible things that you can do in order to get ready for 2025, not going into 2025 with a blank slate, but really having something tangible to work with. So the reason why this one is important is because what I've noticed in a lot of my clients is that we are super gifted, super talented, and we can literally put our hands into whatever it is that we want to. But that doesn't mean that we should be doing that. And as we head into 2025, you're going to start seeing, if you haven't already, all the New Year, New Me memes and the list about what people are leaving behind. And it's not enough to just know what you want to change, but you actually need the clarity and the specificity to actually make it happen. We all intuitively know what we want, but we just don't have the specificity or the details in order to make it happen or to take action. And so in this episode, I am going to show you a simple and powerful way to get crystal clear about your next steps in your career, and then just introduce you to this concept that I like to call leadership pillars. So by the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly what leadership pillars are and how you can build yours out so that you will have the clarity that you need as you're going into 2025 about your career. So let me just paint the picture of what I'm seeing. So when my clients come to me, they are either in a transition or they're wanting to go the next step. So the next step could look like a high visibility opportunity. It can look like a promotion. It could also look like I'm just transitioning out of a job into another job. I'm making an industry shift. I am going into retirement. Like there's all these different things that my clients are coming to me with, or they just want more responsibility or visibility at work, because I have worked with a team where there is someone in the room who really just wants more responsibility. It's not about the promotion. It's not about, all these other things that sometimes we want. It's really about, I just want more responsibility and want to feel like I'm contributing and giving value. But that is when I typically see them really get confused about what they're supposed to be doing in service of what they want. And so they're feeling stuck and they really don't know how to move forward. And most of us are actually going through our careers on autopilot, and we're following the opportunities versus creating plans so that we create the opportunities. So we have the opportunities come to us. It's kind of like the saying goes where if you tell God what you want, He's going to meet you there as long as you are putting in the work, because faith without works is dead. But as long as you're putting in the work and you're taking action in order to move forward on what you want, He's going to meet the person who has shown himself approved. And so you really want to stop just following opportunities and seeing where they're going and watching them and talking about them. But now we need to start creating the plan to create the opportunities that we want. And what I see is that we only stop to think about the direction we are going to take when something forces us to, rather than a constant thinking about where our career is headed. And the instances where this happens is instances where we're being laid off. We want a promotion. There's a job that suddenly appears. It becomes open. We want that promotion. Or we are realizing that we actually hate our jobs and we are ready to get up out of there. Like, I know that I felt that feeling before where I'm like, I have to freaking get out of this job or I am going to blow my head off. Like, literally. And I don't mean that, lightly or to poke fun at anybody who has, experienced that. But I'm just trying to paint the picture of like you get to the point in your career where it's so hard sometimes that you feel like you're just going to explode. Like you're going to reach your capacity. It's like a pot of boiling water that keeps on boiling to the point where it just like rolls over. Like the water just comes out. You know what? A better analogy for this is like when you're popping popcorn. So I bought that new popcorn maker that you put on the stove. That's one of Oprah's favorite things. And I love it because I've actually been wanting to pop popcorn on the stove for a really long time from my own seeds. I remember when I was a young girl, my mom used to do it. And I used to think like, oh, that's so cool. And then, now you have like these quick microwavable kind of popcorn things. And my husband really likes them. And me, being the person that loves to cook first and foremost, but then actually is very mindful of the type of stuff we put into our bodies, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pop the popcorn from scratch. But I digress. But I want to paint the analogy of like, it's like seeds popping inside of a pot, and the popcorn starts to be created and then it start to pop out of the pot. This is sometimes how we feel in our careers where we're like, I hate this job and I have to get out of here. And it's not like we don't have a general direction, but we all know that generalizations don't work when you are thinking about what is next in your career. You need specificity. When you have general goals like I want a better job or I want to lead a team, it's not helpful because then the question becomes what kind of job or what type of team? And without specificity, you actually don't know what path you're going to take. So when we don't have a clear goal or a focus, what ends up happening is that we get really confused about what we are supposed to be doing next. We get confused about how to even move forward. We never stay connected to one thing, and then we're just bouncing from one thing to the next, and we constantly question our own intuition about what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Have you ever felt like this, where it feels like you're going to try over here, and you're going to try this thing over here, and you're going to try this thing over here, and you're just trying shit, and you're not really moving forward? And so we want to get to the place where we move from questioning every decision or not making progress or being in our head and start to get to the place where we're actually taking action. So, where you actually need to get is knowing exactly what you're working toward and having a plan to get you there. So, leadership pillars are what is going to get you there. And after identifying these pillars, you will move on to a roadmap. And so, you know that if you've watched any of my content, either on Instagram or on LinkedIn or even in my email list, I talk a lot about having a roadmap. But what I found is like when I start to talk and help my clients with their roadmap, there's still a disconnect. There's still something missing. And so the pillars will be what you do first before you move over into your roadmap. And so we're going to focus on pillars today because this is really going to help you bridge some gaps you have between where you are and what you want to do. And then it's going to set the foundation for what opportunities you should be interested in or the opportunities that you should be creating. I don't want you to go another day leaving your career up to luck or chance. And I would much rather you start being intentional about your career. Again, intentionality and clarity brings so much life to you because it is a huge weight off your shoulders. You will start making career decisions that actually aligns with your values and your aspirations, and you will position yourself as a leader in ways that feel most authentic to you, and then they actually make an impact. So it's not just about you, but it's going to carry over into the organization that you work in. And you're going to be able to create an impact because you're becoming from such a gut, soul, a place where it's actually moving you, like you really feel energized and motivated to do. And so this is the place that I want you to get to, because without that, you are going to be going in circles and possibly even bouncing from job to job and feeling that every job was the wrong decision over and over again. And so we're going to get really clear about that today. So here's the thing. It even took me some time to figure out what really mattered to me. I like to say that I am a self-proclaimed jack of all trades. And what that means for me is that I like dipping my toe into a little bit of everything. And because I think I'm good at it, or if I'm not good at it now, I really believe, and I challenge myself all the time, that I could actually do it. I can cook. I can clean like hell. I've even thought about being a house cleaner at a point in my life. I think that I can serve food well. I think that I am a great mom. I believe that, let me tell you, I've put together dressers and beds. I've mounted TVs on walls. Like, I freaking think I can do it. And just recently, I remember my kitchen sink got clogged up. I called my dad, had him walk me through it. I'm like, I could do this. The only thing that I cannot do is change a tire and change my oil, I must admit. But I freaking think that I can do a lot of different things well. And what happens is that I'm moving around without like a very laser focus. And I'm just like bouncing from idea to idea a lot of the time. Like there's a lot of ideas that come to my mind every single day that I'm like, I should do this. I can do this. Like really believing that I can do it. And I will do it. I can even do my kids' hair. Like, if you guys don't know, I braid my daughter's hair from time to time. I have locked my boy's hair up. So, like, I am that person. I'm that mom. But what I realize is like the things that I am good at, that I can do, that I can actually make money from, actually drains my energy. And so it's not actually the thing that I should be doing. And I realize that just because I can do it, it doesn't mean that I have the capacity to actually do the things that I'm curious about or the things that can make me some money. And do I need to remind you that I have 4 kids, a husband, and a little dog named Coco who takes up all the time that I have? And so I can't stretch myself thin with a bunch of different things. I have to get focused. And so I tried the pillars out on myself. I got really focused on what it is that came together, how it aligned together to get me to the place that I am now. So there is 5 different pillars, but we're going to look for the through line, the thread that connects them all in order to figure out like, where should I go? And right now, when I did the pillars, coaching, consistent learner is my top strength. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. Learning something new every day. There are no 2 days that are the same. And this is important for me. I have skills with transformation, so I know what is needed and what it takes for someone to transform. And I have proven this over and over again with individuals and with teams. And I would tell you that I have a strong network that I'm not afraid to leverage anymore. And I have created ways to actually leverage these connections. So again, I like to tell my clients that they need to have a leadership roadmap. But what I found was that my clients will have a blank stare at me when we started to discuss how to actually create one. So we're going to talk about leadership pillars today. We're going to understand where we are most connected at in our careers, what most feels aligned, not with just the organization, but with our own needs and the opportunities that are available to us or the opportunities that we want to create. And so the leadership pillars are, again, going to help you understand where you are right now and what actually drives you. So here we go. I know you've been waiting for this. Leadership pillars consist of 5 building blocks that are going to help ensure that you are leading with intention and that you're leveraging the things that are most important for you in your career and in your life. So here are the 5 leadership pillars. The first leadership pillar are your strengths. The second leadership pillar are your passions or your interests. The third are the tangible or quantifiable skills that you have. The fourth is your experience. And the 5th are your networks and your connections. So let's start off with the first one, which are strengths. And again, you don't have to figure these out in order, just for the sake of, listing out how many they are, what they are. You'll hear me say the first or number 1 or number 5 or number 3, whatever. You get it. So starting with the first one, strengths. I am asking my clients, what are you naturally good at? Or what are the skills that other people will constantly recognize you for? Strengths are so important to look at because they tell you what are the things that are in your zone of genius that actually direct you onto the path of success. Some ways to find out what your strengths are is you can answer those questions. You can ask other people, what are you naturally good at? And what people tend to recognize you for. You know that already. Or one of the things that I like to do is I like to use personality tools. So things like Strengths Finders and Enneagram and Leadership Circle Profile to really help you find out this information. And I tend to really like these tools because they actually give you the information from an objective point of view. And it isn't dependent on someone else's subjectivity. Now, the caveat in that is that Leadership Circle Profile will give you both the subjective opinion, but it also will give you some objectivity in that tool. So it's a little bit of both. And then you have the Enneagram and Strength Finder, which are all your answers to the questions. And you do, of course, you have to answer the questions, but the tool is pretty spot on. And I'll tell you, when I was getting Enneagram certified, I hated my results at first. I hated. And let me back up a little bit because before it wasn't me getting Enneagram certified. I had a colleague who was getting certified and she asked to use me as a person. She got 5 free tools. She wanted to use me as a person to practice on. She gave me my results. I hated it. I was like, that's not me. Like, no. Like I was very defensive. I did it again. It came out the same. So that's the power of this tool. Like it reads through your lying and, you trying to, you know, fake and not answer the questions. It reads through it and it came out again. So I was like, okay, cool. And I put that thing up and filed it away. I was like, this is not me, whatever. I'm going to let her think what she wants to think. Like, who? No. As I started to learn about Enneagram and I decided to take the certification myself, I had to take the test again and boop, same damn thing. So now I had to really take a very honest look at myself, and I realized that it absolutely was me. And for those that are Enneagram certified or connoisseurs, or you really like this, just to let you know, my Enneagram number is a 5. It is the type that is very much kind of like we love learning and we're very good at our craft, but we like being alone. And, we care so much about people, but our energy gets very drained. And so you've heard me talk about introversion. You've heard me talk about wanting to learn a lot of different things. And that tool is spot on about who I am. And so I love to give my clients these tools because it's just very effective. And for the month of December, until December 31st, if you become a client of mine, you pay in full, you will get an Enneagram tool for free so that we can go through it. And so it is my gift to you for the month of December. But this is a tool that can help you identify what your strengths are and what you're good at, what your natural motivations are. The other one is the Strength Finders tool. I'm not certified in this yet, but I do know that my top strength is a learner. You can go online at the Strengths Finders website and you can take a tool, an assessment for free. And so I know that my top is a learner, but I am also using this tool a lot with a co-coach that I'm working with as well right now. And we've been giving this to teams that we work with. And it has been a light bulb moment for a lot of them to understand their strengths. So I have understanding. I'm just not certified in this tool, but maybe one day. And so I know that I have to be in a career where I'm constantly learning. If not, things get really boring for me. And so that's why I know that coaching is just amazing for me because I get to learn something new about people every freaking single day. And not just people, but I get to learn so much about myself every single day. So the next pillar are your passions or your interests. Now, this is looking at what motivates you or excites you. So one of the things that really excites me is creating experiences for people. I love to see someone light up. And I am always thinking about how I can create these experiences, even in coaching. I have a lot of things that go on in my life from October through February or through March, right? So I have my birthday, my oldest son's birthday, then my daughter's birthday, then there's Thanksgiving, there's Christmas, then there's my husband's birthday, then there's my puppy's birthday, my child number 4's birthday, and then child number 3's birthday. So through this time, there's a lot going on, and I love to create experiences for them. I love to have like parties and like dinners and things like that. I love it. Where I fall short is I don't like to clean up after, and I don't want to have to do a lot of the organizing behind the scenes. And so I love creating these experiences. I will, but it takes a lot of energy from me. So I know that the experiences that I will create will look different, but they will be a fantastic experience nonetheless. The next pillar that we have are the tangible or quantifiable skills. This is what are the hard skills or the technical expertise that you bring to the table that can be measured in the field that you are looking to work in. So I work with a coach who is brilliant at Airtable. Let me tell you, Airtable is kind of like an Excel on steroids. And it does all these automations and it does all these like brilliant things that takes up can take up so much of my brain space, but shoot, it does it for me. And she has literally helped me fix my back of the office stuff so that when clients book with me, when I track meeting notes, everything is organized. This is not my strength. I know that. So I hired someone who could help me do it. And she has literally turned these skills into a full business. And so this is what I want you to really think about. This is different from strengths because things like learner are not necessarily measurable, but things like building Airtable systems has a tangible output that is measured. And I want you to ask yourself, what is that for you? We cannot leave out your experience. So your experience is the next pillar. You have professional and personal experiences that have shaped your perspective and your leadership approach. I always encourage my mom clients to look at their parenting and identify the skills that they have acquired from being a mom. So things like mediation. I know some of y'all have to mediate fights all the time if you have more than one child, but maybe you're a counselor. Maybe you have grown a lot of patience. You have calendar management, because I know I've become an expert at calendar management from having 4 children. Organization, organizing things, etc., etc. And if you are not a mom, maybe you have built skills from being a caretaker of someone. Or maybe you are impacted by a health issue and you understand that issue and can navigate the healthcare system like no one else. What is the experience, the tangible experience that you have? And just to put a pin in this one, you will have to figure out how to translate those experiences into language that a leader, a boss, a manager understands. Going through this exercise is going to help you a ton because you're going to take those experiences and you're going to say, okay, so last week my kids was fighting and I had to step in and I had to figure out who was right and who was wrong. Boom. Okay. That translates into the workplace as I was able to mediate a conflict between 2 people and help them align and solve the problem so that they can go ahead and move forward without it impacting their relationship. Ta-da! This is how you figure out what your experiences have done and have elevated your skills at, and then you translate that into the workplace. And then last but not least is your network or your connections. So I hesitated adding this one at first, but the reason why it is so important to put this as a pillar is because you are only as good as the network or the community you have. Minda Harts, who is a phenomenal leader, she says success is not a solo sport. So you are going to need others to get you to the next level. If you think you can do it by yourself, or you feed into this racist bias perspective that you can pull your own self by your own bootstraps, that you can do it all by yourself, or you could be an independent woman, Destiny's Child got y'all all out here, highly mistaken. And you might be able to start off doing things by yourself, but trust me when I say it is going to be a slow ride. And so your network and your community is going to be imperative to your growth in your career. So take some time to look at who is in your professional circle, who is in your personal circle, because we don't always look at our personal circles, but I'll tell you, my personal circle, aka my cousin, actually got me a job. So don't overlook that. You need to look at those circles and then figure out how you can leverage your connections to open doors for you or to find opportunities. So as you go out and you build out your pillars based on the 5 pillars that I just said: strengths, passions and interests, tangible skills or quantifiable skills, experiences, and networking connections. I want you to know that these are the keys that will unlock so much for you. They're going to give you the clarity you need. They're going to help you make intentional decisions, regardless of how you want to use them. So if you want to do it for promotion, a new project, more visibility, whatever it is, these are going to help you. And if you are going to improve your leadership performance or increase your pay in 2025, you are going to have to get specific. I promise you, when you are clear on who you are, the what and the how you are going to move forward. So being clear on the what, being clear on the how, it is going to be so much easier for you to navigate your career. So what I want you to do is I want you to write these down. I want you to try to list all these things out and really get specific on what it is that you want to do, what moves you, what energizes you. What have you found in these? You're going to find kind of your zone of genius by doing these leadership pillars. And then once you do the leadership pillars, you'll have something to translate into the leader roadmap. And so I am going to talk about the leadership roadmap on the next podcast episode. Now, the next podcast episode is supposed to be published on Christmas Day. So what I'm going to do for you all next week, I will publish 2 podcast episodes. You will have one on Monday that will have everything about the leadership roadmap, what that looks like, and then we'll have a special Christmas podcast for you on Christmas Day. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you go and do this, you put this into action, and then if you can, come to my Instagram, come to my LinkedIn, comment under this podcast episode. I believe if you are listening on Spotify, it has a place where you can comment. Otherwise, you can, find me on those social media platforms. Join my email list because in the month of January, I am going to be doing a challenge. And so this is going to help you for the month of January. So get on my email list because it's only going to be for the people on my email list. Okay. All right. Hope this was helpful for you. You all have a great rest of your week and talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Leadership Beyond the Title podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like, follow, and leave a comment. Share with your friends, family members, and other women of color leaders. Inside my one-on-one leadership coaching program, I will help you become the leader that you want to be with work-life integration and peace. By tapping into networks, growing your visibility and confidence, you will go from untapped, unseen, and underrepresented to attracting opportunities to take your career and your life to the next level. I use an equity-centered lens in my approach so that you feel seen, safe, empowered, excited, and committed to attract, create, and land opportunities in an unconventional way. To work with me, join my email newsletter, or to learn more about me, click the links in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to being your coach. See you next week.